Hey guys, this is Nick from ForexNoobs.com with a live trade video. Today is Wednesday the 3rd of July 2013 and you're looking at a GBP USD 8-hour chart. I'm looking at taking a long reversal trade. Now this is the setup I'm looking at right now. So what we have here is three bearish candles, so three selling candles. They come down into an area of support. So this is the area of support here. It spans between the 150-120 and the 150-150. Now, in an area of support, there are buyers. That is what support is, an area full of buyers. So we know there are buyers down here. Now, what sellers have done is they've headed down into an area full of buyers. And when they hit this area full of buyers, you start to see that they begin to struggle. They're having a tough time breaking through here. They're struggling. And they've started to push back up. So this indicates that buyers are now entering the market. I had to select an entry for this trade, and originally I wanted my entry to be at the top of the indecision candle, this candle here. But that was just way too close to the open of this new candle because, when I want to see a reversal, I want to see that buyers have actually taken control of the market. Because I'm planning on entering long, I want to see that there's been a transition of power from sellers to buyers, and that tiny like 5 or 6 or 7 pip move from the open of this candle to break the high of the previous candle, it's not enough to indicate that buyers have actually taken control of the market. So what I was looking for in this case was around about a 20 pip move. So I was looking to get in around about up here. Now as you can see, price has pushed up there. This candle has pushed up to there and it's broken my entry, but then it's retraced. Now this gives me a great opportunity to enter this trade down all the way down here, so I'm going to get a pretty good entry, but my actual entry has already been broken, so I'm getting in on the retrace. I could have gone in up here, but I'm able to get in down here, which is much better for me because that means I can have a tighter stop and I could have a larger target. So let's check out the stops and targets before I enter this trade. My stop loss for this trade is going to be roughly 30-40 pips, something like that. It's going to be down here. It's going to be just below the support area here. I want it just below the support area because if sellers manage to push through this support area, it indicates that there are no buyers left in the support area and that this trade has pretty much no chance of working out. So I want to place my stop loss below that support area. My first target is going to be up here at this next resistance area. My target's at the resistance area because in a resistance area there are sellers. So there's going to be sellers in this resistance area. If buyers manage to push up to this resistance area, they're probably going to encounter sellers. Now they may be strong enough to continue to push through, but I don't know that for sure. I'm not sure if the buyers are going to be strong enough to continue to push through. So I'm going to take my first target here. I'm going to take out part of my position here. And when I take out part of my position there, I'll move my stop loss to break even here. And I'll lock in some profits. And at that point, when the trade reaches here, it'll pretty much become a no loss trade. Even if it reverses, the rest of my position gets taken out at break even. And I've still gained some pips from the first half of this position. So I'm going to jump in long on this trade right now. There we go. So I will keep you updated as this trade progresses. Okay guys, as you can see, this trade's already hit its target. It's actually moving a little beyond its target right now. I only opened this trade about 50 minutes ago, and then the services PMI came out for the UK. And it was pretty good, so it helped push this trade in our direction. This trade was probably going to go in our direction anyway because the price action was clearly telling us that buyers were entering the market, but that news release helped boost it a lot faster. Now, a lot of people don't trade around news, and I tend not to trade around news, but this particular news report doesn't usually affect the higher time frames that much. So I was happy to trade through this report. Now in this case it did have a pretty significant effect, but the price action was on our side from the start. So the price action was already telling us that buyers were going to enter the market and push price up. and the news, it helped us out a bit there. Also, the other thing to note is that when price action is telling you something's going to go up, it's sometimes because that news is being factored in already. So the price action is reacting early to what that news is going to be, because those numbers are predicted by institutions and big traders. So this trade has hit our target already. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close out half this position. Then I'm going to move my stop loss to break even, and I'm going to hold the rest of this position to probably my next target. I'm not quite sure where my next target is, but it might be around about here, or it could be the next resistance area. Now, the reason I put my next target here is because we had a slight bounce here recently. As you can see, price came down to here. It stalled for a while before moving down. But it's not really a significant bounce. So what I'm probably going to do is, if price manages to get to here, I'm going to watch price closely as it hits this level. If it seems like it's going to bounce here, if it gets stuck there for 30 minutes, an hour, I might consider exiting. Otherwise, or I might just raise my stop loss a little higher. Or if it just pushes straight through, then I'm just going to ignore this this exit here and just close out the next resistance area all the way up here. So this trade is about to be closed out. Okay, so part of this trade's been closed out. My stop loss is now going to be moved to break even, so I can no longer lose on this trade. This trade is going to be a definite winner now. And worst case scenario, it's going to drop back down, it's going to hit my stop loss, and I'm still going to make, it's still going to average out to about 40 pips, because I made about 85 pips on the first half. So if it comes down and hits my stop loss and takes me out of break even, then I'm going to make around about 40 pips on this trade, which isn't fantastic, but it's still a profitable trade, which is good at the end of the day. If it keeps moving up, I stand to make, so from the entry, if it moves up to around about here, that would be 150 on my second position, or up to 200 on my second position. So the average of that would be roughly 140-ish pips would be the average of those two positions. So that would be a pretty good gain on this trade. So I will keep you updated as this trade progresses, guys. Okay guys, just another quick update to this trade. As you can see, I've closed this trade out fully now. The first position was closed out here, up top, and the second one was closed out down here. Now the reason that second one was closed out is because I had to leave my computer for quite some time, and I could not take my mobile phone with me. Normally it wouldn't be a problem, because I could take my mobile phone and I could just connect to, through my smartphone, I could connect to my desktop. I could stream straight to my desktop and handle the trade, or failing that, I could connect to my trading platform through the phone and I could handle the trade. But unfortunately, I'm not able to use my phone right now because it's broken. So I wasn't able to manage this trade while I was out. And also, I have a webinar to do tonight, a really big webinar, and I knew I was going to be busy and I didn't want to have this trade open too late. So I just made the decision to close it out. I didn't want to set up limit orders and all that kind of stuff, and then come back hours later and try to manage this trade more, because I'm going to be really busy with the webinar. But it doesn't really matter, because 80 pips on a trade is really good for me. And I was able to average about 80 pips on this trade. The first position made me about 85 or something. Second one about 75, so that averages out to around about 80, which is perfectly fine for me. So yeah, this was a good trade, and it still has potential. I mean, if I had a lot more time today, I would still be in this trade, and it looks like it still wants to move up. As you can see, now it is above support. So this was a resistance area at first, but now that it's broken above that resistance area, this resistance has become support. So now there are buyers grouped here, and they're wanting to push price up. So price broke above here, and it tried to come back down, as we can see from this wick, but buyers pushed it up. So it's looking good for this trade. For anyone who's still in it, it still has potential. And I would certainly still be in it myself in a normal situation, but unfortunately I had to close it out. So this trade still has potential, and if I was still in it now, I'd be treating it the same way. I'd still have my stop at break even. and I'd still be targeting around about here or around about here. So yeah, I really wish I could have kept this trade open and I could have shown you guys how I would have traded it all the way through. But yeah, unfortunately that couldn't happen today. But I still hope you gained something useful from this video. I mean, you were able to see the basic concepts of how I trade. I'm looking for a kind of transition of power which occurs on a support area here. And when that transition of power occurs, I look for a good entry, and once that entry is hit, I can get in. The trades don't always happen this fast, but they do sometimes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live trade video. I hope you learned something. See you around the site.